सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Yesterday we saw a very important mantra. We will repeat that as well as what we have to see today. Namo bhavasya hetyai jagatam pataye namo. Namo rudraya tatavine क्षेत्राणां पतये नमो। नमो भवस्य हेत्यै जगतां पतये नमः। हे जगद्गुरु, हे जगदीश्वर, our salutations unto you. Who is the Jagadishvara? The one who has the capacity to guide, lead the entire world of seekers and devotees unto himself. So what does he do? Bhavasya hetyai, the entire Bhavasagara, which is from a wrong conviction, that wrong conviction which leads us into believing that in order to be peaceful, content and happy, I have to acquire something, become something that which I am not. So there is a constant effort put in that particular direction to constantly become. In this act of becoming, the mind has realized, the intellect has also realized that everything does not give me the same amount of happiness or contentment and peace. So what does it do? It employs itself into becoming so many throughout the day of our waking world, and at the net result, it says aggregate of all these experiences, little peace there, little contentment there, all put together, the intellect is led to believe in that conditioning that my life is not that bad, but not that great either. This bhava, hetyai, heti ayudhaha. This bhava is the roga, the act of becoming, the conditioning of becoming is the roga. And what has it to be done? Mercilessly hetyai, it has to be removed. And the one who helps us remove this pattern of bhavasagara, unto him my salutations. Therefore, he is called Jagatam Pataye Namaha. He is called the Jagadishvara. Jagadishvara, the one who is truly the Lord of the entire world. entire world of beings. And it is He who blesses us, and here we are worshipping and invoking Him as the Dakshina Murti, because He takes the avatar as the Guru. Unto such Guru my humble prostrations and salutations. And what does the Guru do? He gives us, yesterday I was telling this, that other than jnana, other than knowledge, if our initiation into the Brahma Vidya is leading us anywhere else, understand that it is not a true path. Because what should be the initiation? As soon as the student reaches the master's feet, the Guru's feet, the direction given is Tattvamasi. You are that. Now, when the teacher comes back to ask, did you understand Tattvamasi? The reply cannot be, yes, Tattvamasi. The reply has to be as a personal experience, and that personal experience has to have the wisdom of the experience. So, the second Vakya that the student utters is, he says, the instructional Mahavakya is Tattvamasi. The first step of experiential Mahavakya is Aham Brahmasmi. I am that Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. That which was indicated through the Mahavakya as the instructional Mahavakya, the experience is that I am that, I am Brahman. So, Guru says, looks at him and he says, continue. What, even with Aham Brahmasmi you still say continue? Then after years of sadhana, years of practice, years of tapasya, in trying to experience that which was indicated, then the Guru comes back. There is no more aham. So when the Guru asks, so what is your experience? He says, Prajnanam Brahma. There is no more aham there. This consciousness is nothing other than Brahman. That is why Tattvamasi Mahavakya has got such an importance in our spiritual, Vedic spiritual unfoldment. And that Tattvamasi Mahavakya Shodhana has to be done rigorously. Tvampada Shodhana, Tatpada Shodhana, and then the Aikya. Aikya, the oneness of Tvam and Tat in the Asi has to be understood. Tat Tvam Asi. Now, once that Shodhana is initiated into the, for the student, the Bhava, which is the result of, or the Bhava Sagara, which is the result of our wrong conviction, that wrong conviction is wiped away. And because this is pointing towards that prajnanam, therefore that ekatanata, as Vidyaranya Swamiji calls it, he calls it as ekatanata, that there is an awareful thought retained. That awareful thought, though thought is nothing but jada, but because it is directly indicating towards the core of my own being or my essential nature, and it is not a thought repetition. See, by the time the student has reached to this level, puja, upasana, japa, anusthana, all these things should have been already done. As soon as you sit on that seat of meditation, the mind doesn't waver here and there. It just needs that pointer, and with that pointer it just merges into that which is being pointed at. And what remains then is the abidance by the self in the self. Bhavasya hetyai. So what is the heti, the ayudha? Is this tattvamasi mahavakya janya vritti, the clarity born out of it. Moving forward, namo rudraya tatavine kshetranam pataye namo. Namo rudraya tatavine. As we have already seen, I am just reminding again that this entire anuvaka follows with two sets of nama out of reverence, out of love and respect. So it starts with namaha, ends with namaha. Namaha, salutations unto that. Unto whom? Namo rudraya. We have already seen this word, because the very first mantra starts with Namaste Rudramanyava Utota Ishave Namaha. So, Rudraya, we have already seen that word. Which kind of Rudra? That kind of Rudra who is Atatavine, Atatavin. Who is an Atatavin? Atatayena dhanusha avati rakshati iti atatavin. The one who is always prepared and ready, with the bow strung and the arrow fixed. To do what? To perform his job as a Rudra. Now here Rudra, when we started, we have seen various meanings. Two meanings that we will refer to today is Rodayati iti Rudra, the one who makes us cry. And the second one, Rik Samsara Vriksham Trayate iti Rudraha. Rik meaning the entire samsara, bhavaroga, the one who removes it is also called Rudra. So that one who is always ready with a bow and arrow to remove all the limitations of the seeker, to such Rudra, my salutations. Namo Rudraya Atatavine. Kshetranam Pataye Namaha. And he is also called the Kshetrapati. If this whole Anuvaka is taken, he is Dishapati, he is Pashupati, he is Pathinam Pati. So in this particular mantra, he is referred to as Kshetrapati. There are various Kshetrapalakas, various Kshetras and their Kshetrapalakas, and he is the Lord of all of them. So the salutations unto that Rudra who removes the bondage of limitations, and salutations to that Rudra who is the Lord of all the Kshetras, fields. sometimes there are speakers, they take this particular mantra and just have funny jab between the Vaishnava and the Shaiva. They say that better than Vishnu to protect the seeker, it is Shiva. Why? Vishnu is tired of waiting, therefore he is always in Yoga Nidra. Whereas Shiva, he is waiting, but he is waiting with his bow and arrow ready, that as soon as somebody requires and thinks of him, he comes down, swoops down and protects them. And I found it funny when I was reading the commentaries that there was a subtle jab. So I said, okay, I will not take that standpoint seriously. I will take it as a fun only. So the point is that Paramatma, in whichever form that you worship him as, is always referred to as Atatavina. We see even in Bhagavan Vishnu, just to do the doshapahara of the jab that I started, that there is a beautiful reference in the Gajendra Moksha. In Bhagavatam, when you read it, the aturata, the readiness that Gajendra, after having shown all his power and used all of it, finally he picks up a flower and he says, "Oh Lord, can't handle it anymore, please come, protect me, save me." And it is said Bhagavan was eating food in Vaikuntha. As soon as there was a call, he just puts that, he doesn't even have time to wash his hands. He has not worn his Angavastra. He has not had his Padukas on. He does not even call for Garuda. His Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, nothing is there. He just rushes out of Vaikuntha. And Lakshmi ji was serving like, ab tak tha, ab kahan gaya? Usually, when the husband leaves, he informs wife, this is where I am going, it will take this much time, I will come back in this much time. Usually. And that was, Shripati used to do it. And this was the first time that, he didn't even inform. And there is a tradition that those who are going out, you don't ask them where they are going. So it's like, and it is very beautifully described that Garuda, who was waiting for him, flies by and said, "Bhagavan, I am meant for this, please jump on me." Then the Padaraksha, the sandals, come and adorn themselves on his feet. All the Astra, Shastra, Ayudha, everything, follow him and join him en route. It's like he jumps off of heaven, directly reach to, and as he is reaching, one by one, they get fixed on him, add-ons. Tvarita, as soon as you think with that kind of intensity, and there is a beautiful bhajan, very beautiful bhajan. Bhajan says that log कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं, तुम वीर गज की तरह बुलाते नहीं. It's not that he doesn't come, it's just that we don't call him. लोग कहते हैं कि भगवान खाते नहीं, तुम विदुर की तरह, दास विदुर की तरह खिलाते नहीं. Sabari also can be taken. There are many more examples that can be taken. See, sometimes what happens, the bhajans, when they get repeated and they get extended, they get lot of add-ons into it. And we used to see it in our ashram, that there were a couple of bhajans, and if there were one or two of them who were notorious, that simple 2-minute or 3-minute bhajan, they will make it a 15-minute bhajan. तुम ये लोग कहते हैं कि ये नहीं करते, तुम ये इसकी तरफ करते नहीं हो. They keep adding it on. सबरी की तरह, दास विदुर की तरफ खिलाते नहीं. It is the intensity of the one who is calling. It is said, Atatavina, that Bhagavan is ever eagerly waiting to do ruk trayate, to remove all the limitations of the seeker. But we have to intensely seek him. In a different version, the same mantra, it is said, Namo Rudraya Tatayine, the one who is the Rudra for all the Atatayi. Now, Atatavi and Atatayi, the whole meaning changes. Even in Bhagavad Gita, there is a reference that, all these Atatayi. Now, who are the Atatayi? Shadete Atatayinaha. These 6 are called the Atatayi. Agnidaha, Garadaschaiva, Shastrapanihi, Dhanapaha, Kshetradhara Apaharta cha Shadaite Atatayinaha. Agnidaha burn somebody's property or house. Okay. Agnidaha. Garadaschaiva, Garada or Garala. Garala is poison. Poison somebody's food. Burn somebody's house, poison somebody's food. Shastrapanihi, Shastrapanihi, you take weapons and you attack people and kill them with the weapons. Dhana apaha, you snatch somebody's wealth, that which was not yours, but you ended up snatching. Kshetra apaharta, you snatch somebody's property. Dara apaharta, you snatch somebody's wife. Now, if you look at it, Duryodhana had done all 6 of them. He had burnt Lakshagriha. He had poisoned. The intent was to take away all the Pandavas, but Bhima was such a voracious eater, he did not leave a scope for anybody else. And that turned out to be that as a blessing in disguise, that the poison's impact had only made him drowsy. And he woke up in the Nagaloka. And there, from there, in some relation, recognizing him as Kunti Putra, the Nagaloka blesses him to come back as strong as Sahasra, like the 1,000 elephants. He was already strong. So, Garadaschaiva, Shastrapanihi, there were more than one instances wherein they were tried to be killed. What just Pandavas, even Bhagavan Krishna was attempted on. When he went as an ambassador to talk on behalf of Pandavas, he was, there was a plan to kill him. Dhanapaha, wealth was snatched not once, twice. Kshetrapaharta, Kshetra, the entire Indraprastha was snatched from them. Dara apaharta, Dushyasana, pulls Draupadi as if she was an asset, with a wrong intent by the Kauravas. These are called the Atatai. Now, to such Atatai, what does he become? He becomes the Rodayati iti Rudraha. He becomes the very source of misery for such people. In either cases, whether it is Atatai or Atatavi, he is doing what the Lord has always claimed, Paramatma has always claimed. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam. If you take Atatavi, it is Paritranaya sadhunam. If you take Atatayi, then it is vinashaya cha dushkrutam. And then he is the lord of these fields. And Bhagavan Krishna in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Kshetra Kshetrajna Yoga, Vibhaga Yoga, there he says that Kshetrajnam chapimam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. For all the kshetras, consider me as the indweller, the owner of all these kshetras. So, on the most broader perspective, dharma kshetra, karma kshetra, punya kshetra, these are various kshetras. In fact, the entire Bhagavad Gita starts with that, dharma kshetre, kurukshetre. He is the one who is being the kshetrapati, blesses us with the right result of every karma that is performed. Let us pause here and try applying it in day-to-day life. Because this is one thing that I keep hearing in various study groups and discussions. I put the effort and somebody else snatches my result. Can it ever happen? If we believe that it can happen, then please go back and refer to 2nd and 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita until the understanding matures to that what I perform, nobody else can take the results. Or else the entire karma siddhanta, it flops, it fails. Now, how do we understand it in our day-to-day life, that in the cubicle politics? Cubicle politics meaning the work environment. I put the effort, my boss snatches the results. Or somebody else who is crooked enough represents it as if it was their task, their expression and their project report. Whereas what you have done, you have slogged for it all through. And you see that the credit being given to somebody, the results being enjoyed by somebody else, it feels very disappointing and disenchanting. Now, the actions that we have performed, the results of it cannot be snatched by anybody. That which appears to be snatched was not in first place yours. This is one way of looking at it. The second way of looking at it is, whenever we perform actions reaching out to our community, our family, friends and others, we keep a tab. We are very efficient, Vyanika, the business minded, Vyapara Drishti. We always keep a tab. In fact, if there is a color code, every time we meet somebody that we are familiar with, on that some person there will be like popping balloons with tabs. इसको मैंने इतना दिया था, I had helped him in such situation, I had given in such a this. So whenever we do, we feel that it is I who is giving it and I have the right to claim it back. The closer the relationship, higher is the tension of this equation. Husband, wife, parents, children. Whenever the parents are frustrated and say, I have spent hours in the entire life in raising you, is this what you give me back in return? Quite famous and common dialogue within. I just thought it was in the Desi community. It is quite widespread all over humanity. See, look at it from a totally different perspective. I am able to give, and whenever there is an opportunity to give, that opportunity is for me to redeem myself from my earlier debts to the environment or to that individual. It is not that I am giving, I am actually paying back. If you look at it that way, can there be any expectation back? Can there be any foul cry? All my life, all that I have been doing is giving and giving. When do I get? He is the Jagadishwara, he is the Kshetrapati. When what we deserve, at what time we deserve, at what exact moment what experience should unfold as a result for us, he decides it for us. We don't have control on that, because each seed has its own time of reaping the bounty. Even in the earth, when you sow seeds, each seed has got its own time. Like the example that I normally take, paddy gives crop in 3 months, coconut gives crop in 5 years. You cannot compare and say that even that person has, he already has got a crop, and but I have also sown and I don't get a crop. And worse, looking at everybody reaping, you keep digging every day. खुलासा करके देखते रहते हो. You are not even giving it an opportunity to germinate and yield results. He is the Kshetrapati and he gives us the phala of our karma when it is due. He is also the one who gives us the final ultimate, and that being moksha as well. Not just dharma, artha, kama, moksha as well. Yama esha vrunute tena labhyaha. It comes in the Mundaka Shruti that when that Paramatma, yam Paramatmanam, yesha sadhakaha vrunute, he chooses, tena labhyaha. That is when moksha also is an experience that can happen. In Bhagavad Gita itself, another reference, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hruddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. That he sits right in this heart. Ishvaraha sarva bhutani, where does he sit? Where is the control panel? Hrit deshe Arjuna tishtati. That Ishvara sits with his control panel right in our own heart. Brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. The entire creation is observed thus by his Maya Shakti in full function right from our own heart. When we write our bio, when we write our resume, when we write about our own self, we may tend to morph lot of things, what is and what is not, and how it should be presented, how it should be presented not, various things. I was speaking with one of these headhunter recruiting manager. So I said, do you know that many of the new recruits, when they apply, that what you demand from them is highly illogical? Because you are expecting from them minimum 4 to 6 years of experience. That they have various projects that they have already worked in, they are just stepping out of the college. And unless they put, you don't even look at them for an interview. So you end up making them lie. I know many of them. When they apply, especially those who come on H1. The reason I happened to notice this is I saw somebody's resume and I said, 7 years of experience. I looked at it, when did you do it? Swamiji, you don't understand. If I don't put it this way, I don't get it. We may morph things when we have to present it to the world outside. But do you think that Paramatma is not watching? He is watching every single little thought, word, deed. And accordingly, the results are varied. Just because you have a ball and bat, you don't become a cricket expert. Once I had an opportunity to face those balls, the leather ball on a true pitch. We were about 6 or 7 of us, Swamis, and from the ashram, it was in Hyderabad. We were walking, we had gone out for a walk, and we reached the place where these Ranji Trophy happens, and there were these cricketers playing. One of them I had recognized from Vijayawada in our Yuva Kendra. So they were also about 6-7 of them. They wanted somebody to par with and have a game. So they said, it will be a practice for us, it will be a good experience for you also, would you mind joining us? Chalo, karte. As was the thing, like, I said, we will take batting first. Then I realized these are not even the A class. These come under the B category or the C category. Those who were working for their Ranji Trophy qualifiers. And when they started bowling, I could see the ball and then I could hear the ball. In between, a big gap. And these are not even the branded ones, greatest ones. That is when I realized, when we sit in front of a TV and look at the players playing, we have the tendency to comment, अरे एक स्क्वायर कट करना था ना, or whatever is the stroke to be played. We have our own commentaries. I realized it takes a lot to be there right in that spot. Let us not unnecessarily comment and criticize. Each one who holds it, there is so much of variation of intent and the practice and discipline, various things put in. So the results will vary. And what kind of results each one of us has to gain is decided by that Paramatma who is sitting right in our heart and deciding for every action when the result, how the result should unfold. Kshetranam pataye namaha. He is also called Kshetrapati, meaning there are certain kshetras, certain specific punya kshetras, sacred pilgrimages, wherein sitting back at home, true, God is everywhere, you can pray unto that God from any which way, it does not matter. But when you go to these kshetras, wherein lots and lots of Mahatmas for ages have performed tapasya there. Some of these kshetras are so powerful that even various gods have performed tapasya there. So as soon as you enter into that kshetra, you are enveloped with a different mindset. And for a true seeker in that particular kshetra, in those kshetras, the one who gives moksha as the kshetrapati is Lord Shiva alone. Don't we say that Kashi kshetra, he gives mukti to every being, those who come and perform their sadhana there. In fact, all these kshetras, it is Paramatma alone who is expressing in that form of kshetrapati. And that is why we, in the stotras as well, we say that, O Lord, you are the one who blesses us with jnana and moksha. Annapurne sadapurne shankara prana vallabhe. And what is it that we ask from such Annapurna? O Mother, tell your other half to grant us jnana vairagya siddhyartancha bhikshan dehi cha Parvati. If at all I seek any bhiksha, please grant me this jnana and vairagya. And he is the one who grants us that jnana and vairagya. Not just jnana and vairagya, through jnana and vairagya, paramapada, moksha itself. Avimuktadinam punyakshetradinam va swamine punyakshetra palatmane va namaha. That you are the one who is the invoked preceptor through these punya kshetras. Therefore, to that kshetrapati I offer my salutations. Namo Rudraya tatavine kshetranam pataye namaha. Now moving forward to the next mantra. Repeat after me. Namasutaya ahantyaya vananam pataye namo Namah Sutaya Hantya Yavananam Pataye Namo. No, that was not for you to repeat, just saying it in the Vedic intonations. Namaha, salutations again. Sutaya, Sutaya, to the charioteer. Suta is the entire charioteers clan or community is called Suta. Remember, Karna was often called, and he took an offense or insult to it as Sutaputra. Do you remember Mahabharata? Sutputra. Suta means the charioteer. Namaha Sutaya, salutations to the charioteer. Ahantyaya, the indestructible. Hanti is to kill, Hanana. Ahantyaya, the one who cannot be destroyed, indestructible. Namaha Vananam Pataye, salutations to the Lord of the forests. Salutations to the jungli. Jungle ke Swami hai. Salutations to the charioteer and salutations to the Lord of entire forests, and salutations to that indestructible. Sutaha meaning Sarathihi. Sarathihi Niyanta. Niyanta, the controller. In the battlefields in those days, there were various levels of warriors. The lowest level was called the foot soldiers. Somebody who is more skilled than them. There was always tests, and you could pass those tests. Among the armed forces, you have to pass these tests. The next level is called Rathi. Rathi, the one who can manage the chariot, the horses, and depending again, there were various layers or various levels of, there were some chariots which were 1 horsepower, literally 1 horse tied to it, yoked to it. But a Rathi status was given to somebody who could handle a chariot which was pulled by minimum 4 horses. First of all, you have to manage the speed. Second, while you are in the battlefield, it is not Vihara Yatra that you take the chariot and then sit on it and then wave your hands, and that is easy. That is not called a Rathi. And more so if you are from these Bombay horses. हो गया, बैंड बज गया. Why? Because after every 2 steps that the horse takes, the charioteer also has to be a dancer, has to come in front of the horse and dance few steps and then get back, and it will start moving forward. Do you know why? Because usually they are also hired as the Barati Godas. The boy is on the horse, and the horse does not have to move fast, because every 2 steps they stop and have dance, and then we are not talking of Vihar Yatra here. You have to have a control over 4 horses, the chariot, yourself, and protect all these from any enemies arrows or attacks. That is when you are called Rathi. That is why to have somebody who is of a Maharathi status to be your Sarathi was a great blessing. That is why our Karna asks, requests, what is his name? Shalya, to be the Sarathi, because he was a Maharathi. So this was the next level, Rathi. Those who were less than 4 horses, they were called Ardharathi. That they can manage 1 horse to 3 horses. Usually it was 1 horse chariot, and they can manage controlling it and protecting themselves as well as the chariot while going through the battlefield. So, foot soldiers, Ardharathi, Rathi. Then was the Maharathi. Now, what was a Maharathi? A Maharathi was, you must have a computer chip up here to be a Maharathi. You have to protect yourself, your Ratha, your Sarathi, as well as protect 2.5 lakh people in one battalion. Now, those 2.5 people can be on horses, can be on elephants, can be on camels, they can be foot soldiers, they can be Rathi, Ardharathi. Imagine to coordinate with that many people on the battlefield. So, to be a charioteer, to be a Suta, to have that kind of skill to manage and control, therefore they were called Suta. Suta, the one who has control over, Niyantritva. Sutaha Saratihi Niyanta. But what is he the Suta of, the charioteer or a Niyanta of? Jagat Yantratmanaha. The entire cosmos and its movement is controlled by him alone. While driving a car, do you have a control over your car? Thanks for shaking your head, yes. Otherwise, tell me when you are on the roads, I will pull out. I was in New York recently, and I preferred taking the subways than the car, because nobody drives there with any rules. It was like being in Bombay. And the funny commonality that I observed was there was not a single car which did not have dent. And dents were very common. So the one who was driving me one day, somebody just cut in, and the way he scolded at him was, तुझे नहीं, तुझे लाइसेंस देने वाले को गाली देना चाहिए. You should not be scolded. The one who has approved you to be the driver, he should be whacked or he should be scolded. See, with being a driver, our car should be under our control. But the maximum number of deaths that happen in this country is not because of guns and bullets, is because of the driving or the cars. And did you know that Dallas was quite infamous for that? Top 10 of such accident prone is right here on Preston. Not far away, right here. We have been given a control of the vehicle, the wheel and everything is in our control, and we see so many accidents happening, right? When we look at the universe, is there ever a flash news that one planet has missed its orbit and running into some other planetary object? Has it happened? When? Well, I will believe it when I see one. At least when we talk about our Milky Way. So you get the point, right? That things are in its orbit. They run in their own. They are so predictable that you can predict for next 100 years when exactly there will be a sunrise and sunset. The entire Panchanga or the almanac, Hindu almanac as it is called, whether it is solar based or the lunar based, we can tell, we can predict exact sunrise, sunset, eclipses, various movements. They are quite predictable. The entire nature functions with such precision. And there are these natural laws that govern them. Water flows always from a higher elevation to a lower elevation. Fire always burns. There are these natural laws that govern. Niyantritva, the one who manages and maintains the entire universe, not universe, in fact we would say that Akhilanda Koti Brahmanda Nayaka, innumerable number of, there are no more universes, uni means only one, right? Multiverses. The entire cosmos is running tight under schedule. And the one who has that kind of niyantritva, both at the samashti level as well as at the vyashti level. To such jagat yantratmanaha ratasya niyantritvena, this entire cosmos being managed by him with such flawless precision. Therefore, to such Sarathi, to such Niyanta, my salutations. Sutaya Namaha. There is another meaning that can be taken if we stretch the word Suta. In the beginning of every Kalpa, Shaunakadi rishis approach Suta Mahashaya to be their preceptor or guru. They had an amazing time schedule. They were all retired from there, they were into the Vanaprastha. They were all great kings and entrepreneurs in various fields. After having reached that age of Vanaprastha, they had given up everything. And all that they would focus on was during the daytime. They would do this elaborate Satra Yaga. Satra Yaga usually runs for one yaga, concludes in 41 days, Mandala Praya, 41 days. During those 41 days, every day, day after day after they have performed their Sandhya Vandana, they start the morning till late afternoon, they do the yaga and they have a quick executive meal. And that is where I learnt the meaning of nashta. We think nashta is Hindi or a Urdu word, but that is when I realized that nashta was a Sanskrit word. Na ashatavat iti. They would eat as if they have not eaten much. And then they would approach Suta somewhere in the late afternoon, 2:30, 3 o'clock. And their common statement is, enough of the smoke of the day. Can we have something that will really touch and pleasure our heart by listening to the glories of the Lord? So, Shaunakadi rishis in the Naimisharanya Kshetra, they would approach Suta, and this Suta Mahashaya in the Adau, Kalpa Adau, in the beginning of the Kalpa, would narrate all these Puranas. This is how all the 18 Puranas start, as a dialogue between Suta and Shaunaka. Mahabharata starts with Janamejaya. There is Suta there as well. Oh, Mahabharata has such complicated dialogues of so many people. It's funny. It starts with Ganesha and Vyasa, and then Janamejaya is introduced, and Janamejaya narrates this. So, Mahabharata is complicated. Let us put Mahabharata as Purana. So, Suta Mahashaya is the Vakta of these Puranas for the Shaunakadi rishis, and as this Adi Guru who has given these Puranas, wherever there is Guru, as we saw the other mantra, Jagatam Pataye Namaha. So, in that form of Suta, who is expressing? It is Bhagavan Shiva alone who is expressing. To such Suta, salutations. Ahantyaya Namaha. Ahantyaya Namaha. Ahantavyaya Atma Jyotishe. Salutations unto that indestructible, because he is the Atma Jyoti. That which is of the nature of self illumination, which cannot be destroyed by any of the elements of this matter or the world of matter. In fact, the world of matter cannot even touch, cannot even blemish the fifth of the elements, which is the space. Space is untouchable. Space cannot be burnt, space cannot be drowned, space cannot be hit by a stone or crushed under the weight of nothing. Space is untouchable. That which is the consciousness which recognizes even that space, which is subtler than the space, cannot be destroyed. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita says that the Atma Tattva is neither Ashosyam, Adahyam, Akledyam. Did I start with Ashosyam? Achedyam. None of these four can be touching even the space. How can it touch the conscious principle? Therefore, Ahantyaya. there is another deeper meaning of ahantyaya. Aham eva sarvamiti bhavaha ahanta. Aham eva sarvam iti ahanta bhavaha, or iti bhavaha ahanta. I am everything. It is that I which Paramatma, Bhagavan Krishna refers to in Bhagavad Gita again and again. Aham tva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shucha. Wherever that aham is used by Lord in Bhagavad Gita especially, he is talking from this standpoint of oneness with totality. And that bhava is called ahantyaya. Ahanta, that tadatmya with the entire totality. It is similar to the mind in the dreamer's plane. What condition is it in? It has got the complete accessibility and sarvabhaumatva of the entire dream world. Whether it is the sentient part of the dream world or the insentient part of the dream world, the entire sequencing of it, it is just the mind which is spreading itself, expressing itself in these multivarious, multifaceted aspects. Similarly, with respect to this entire creation, when there is the oneness with it, many a seeker, when they get into the savikalpa samadhi, vikalpa yukta samadhi, savikalpa samadhi, in their trance, in their absorbed moment of oneness with the entire creation, we have seen in such great masters that in the environment that they are in tune with, something happening with that which they are attuned with, they see the repercussions of that which they are attuned to on them. Once Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was standing on the shores of Gangaji, and he was in that trance, lost, because it was a cloudy, rainy day, and he had gone there for taking a shower, and he just stood there in trance, looked at everything that was such dark in color. It reminded of him of his mother Kali, and he went into trance. And he became one with that entire totality there. There was this man rowing the boat, and the owner takes the oar and for whatever reason hits him hard, hits the boatsman hard with that oar, and suddenly Ramakrishna Paramahamsa falls into the river. The students who were there meditating hear that sound and immediately grab him to find a big mark on his back. And that is when they realize that he was in oneness with the entire river, entire environment there, and something happening there, it got a reflection on his body. Sarvatmatvam. Aham sarvamiti bhavaha ahanta. Oneness with the entire totality. It is from this standpoint of totality that when Durvasa had come with his thousands of students, at that time to Pandavas, when they had nothing to feed them with, and he was instructed or he was requested to test these Pandavas after the meal hour. So Bhagavan Krishna, understanding the scheme of the Kauravas, rushes in and he says, from that Akshaya Patra, even if there is one morsel. So there are some traditions in our Hindu families that even after everything is served, at least a morsel of food is always kept until the next meal. So that if unknowingly somebody comes there, you can have at least a morsel of it to feed that person. So Bhagavan Krishna takes that, becomes one with the totality at that moment and eats that one grain of rice. Whoever was doing the cleaning job that day did not do a good job of that Akshaya Patra. We don't have the detail, therefore I am not going into that. Whoever. And they just have had their snana, they come out and everybody is, instead of Omkara, there is only Dakara. Dakar को इंग्लिश में क्या कहते हैं? Burping. As if they have had food. Now with such full stomach, they said, if they have, we know Pandavas, if they have cooked really big and we don't partake with that meal, it will not be good. Let us, patli gali si, let us leave from this place from here itself. And they don't come back. Sarvatmakatvam. Aham sarvamiti. Bhavaha ahanta. That conscious identification with the entire totality. Ahantyaya. The one who is one with the entire totality. To such Sarvabhauma, my salutations. Vananam pataye namaha. We today very clearly recognize that if there were no trees, no greenery in this planet, would we have survived? Can we survive? So the one who in the form of the entire plant kingdom expresses for the nourishment and maintenance of this entire creation, to such Lord our salutations. And also Kenopanishad and even Samaveda, parts of Samaveda refer to Brahman as Vana. Kenopanishad very clearly says, Tadha tadvanam nama upasita tadvanam ityupasitavyam. That verily indeed, tat, that what we refer to as Brahman, is recognized as Vanam. Vanam here means the most adorable one, the most adored one. So one has to meditate on that Brahman as the most adored one. And one more aspect of it is, there are in the sannyasa, Vananam pataye, who is there in the Vana? All the yogi, sannyasi and the tapasvins. Vananam pataye. Of all these yogis, tapasvins and the sannyasins, who is the Lord? And all of these renunciates, they worship Bhagavan Shiva. Therefore, Vananam pataye. Now, among these sannyasis, when they are given sannyasa, there are called 10 orders of it, Dashanami. And how do you know their last name is quite evident. So, like my name, the complete name is Swami Sarveshananda Saraswati. So, Saraswati being the last name, that shows what part of the Dashanami we belong to, what tradition that we belong to is indicated there. So, there are Saraswatis, there are Tirtha. So, you might have heard many sannyasins name ending with Tirtha, Bharati Tirtha. Then there are name endings with Bharati, Chandrasekhara Bharati. So, there is Saraswati, Bharati, Tirtha. One of these 10 is also Vanam. Very rare that you come across them, and they are supposed to be the highest of the categories of the sannyasins. They usually take Kshetra sannyasa. They dwell in the forests. Therefore, the Kailash Ashram Mandaleshwara, when he found that Swami Tyagananda was not formally initiated into sannyasa, upon the request of the Kailash Ashram Mandaleshwara, Tyaganandji agreed to be given formally sannyasa, and from then on to be recognized as our own Swami Tapovanam. He is the last ending of it is Vanam. Vana of what? Vana of penance. So, for all these Vani, meaning those who are in the Vana Sampradaya, their Ishta is always Parameshwara. To such Parameshwara, my salutations. On the side, this is my commentary, okay. Vananam Pataye, the one who is the Lord. Did you get it? Vananam Pataye, the only one who is the Lord. Therefore, he is called Vananam Pataye. To such Bhagavan Shiva, our salutations and prostrations. We will start with the next mantra, but we may not have time to look into it. Repeat after me. Namo Rohitaya, Sthapataye, Vrikshanam, Pataye Namo. Namo Rohitaya Stapataye Vrikshanam Pataye Namo. Namo Rohitaya. Rohitaya, the one who is red in color. I tell you, this Rishi who has had the vision of these mantras must have been quite an artist, painter. Yes, always vivid with graphic colors. Rohitaya, red in color. So, salutations to the one who is red in color, Rohitaya. Sthapataye, Sthapati, the one who establishes balance or control. Therefore, the architects are called Sthapati, because they balance these beams and everything in a controlled manner to create these structures. To such Sthapati, salutations. Vrikshanam Pataye, Vrikshanam Pataye, to the one who is the Lord of Vananam. Again Vananam, again Vrikshanam. Now, what does it mean? That we will see tomorrow. Tomorrow is what? Thursday. Okay. So, tomorrow will be the last day in this series. Because of the YUP course, usually the Yuva Kendra course that I am heading, the teachers training that I usually have just before the beginning of the sessions, I am forced to having it this weekend. So, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So, these 4 days grade wise there will be teachers training. So, I will have to end tomorrow itself. In June, since I will be leaving for the YUP course only on the 24th, so I will be planning to have series on Rudram, which will be announced through email. So, look forward for that. If you do not get the email, please check the website. Yes, but there is a dispute on that, therefore, I did not take that into reference. Okay, let us stop. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.